Hey, y'all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Eliah Mountjoy. How you doing, Eliah?
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, you guys will recognize his voice as the very formidable and very dangerous Winter Soldier Bucky from Marvel Rivals. You know how many times people hear your voice and run in fear?
Yeah, it's kind of become a thing now where I meet a new person and they're like, I got a lot of PTSD because of you. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but Bucky's made of PTSD, so what can I
That's
say?
fair. Yeah, yeah. So Marvel Rivals, very hot game. I mean, new season after new season. We just got a new one that came out now, and you have a very stacked IMDb. How did you come across the role for Winter Soldier in Marvel Rivals?
Oh, same way I get almost everything, which is through my agent, an audition through
Mm-hmm.
my agent. Um, Particularly for Rivals, I think that there's probably some legacy characters who were approached
Yeah.
and you could probably guess who they were because they've done that voice for 10, 15, 20 years. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to audition, and especially for video games, you don't know what you get. They don't tell you. There's almost always a code name because secrecy is so important, particularly in that world. So I didn't know what I was auditioning for. I was just doing
Yeah.
me doing whatever this kind of character description was. Um, and then at some point, I feel like there was um, a callback, and it had a picture of Winter Soldier. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's a named character, a well known Marvel character. This would have been kind of right, sort of in the middle, towards the end of the pandemic, so like 22, I want to say,
Okay.
maybe early 23. I have to go back and look, but I just because I was already a fan
Mm-hmm.
of comic books, superheroes, all of that. And so I was a fan of Sebastian Stan and the way that he portrayed the character. But I also knew I'm different. I'm a different person, and I wasn't going to try and voice match, kind of like you have to with Tony or Peter Parker or Hulk or Thor. Those kind of legacy characters, you kind of have to. You got to be really close. It's like
Yeah.
that's not Spider Man. It's like it's got to be Spider Man. So fortunately, Bucky didn't have a real like strong vocal print. He just had that strong, really cool black leather with the mask and the hair and the silver arm, and I loved that.
Yeah.
So I really wanted the role, and so when I so when I got it, I was pretty pumped about that. I was pretty pumped.
So when you get that second call back, clearly they like what you've done, but now you know who the character is.
Oh,
Are you
oh yeah.
influenced by that at all?
Yeah, I mean that's always the catch 22, that you got to do what you gave them. That's why they called you back.
Right.
Um and you know that whatever you do, you have to bring yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing an impersonation or a sound match, it still has to be genuine. And so I just yeah, I love these kind of characters. I love superheroes. I love tactical superheroes. Do a lot of military sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the dark streak, the macabre side of things. So I like villains, or like like Batman is I'm a Batman fan because he's like he's riding that line between villain and hero.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is another one I've always loved, and he's existed in both worlds,
Mm-hmm.
good and bad, and that where is the line? I love that. I love that theme. I love playing that duality because I feel that's more actual, more representative of where we live as people in the real world. It's not just good and bad, and it's like it's complicated, and
Yeah.
different situations call for a different side of you. So he's a complicated character, and I love I love having the space to play that kind of a character.
Yeah. And that complication too, that I think you have to deliver that with your lines. And I think when it's done right, and it is done right with you, is you do hear that, like, a little bit of battered character who's been around for a little too long, he's tired, and he's out there just one more day trying to save the world, one piece at a time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's 108 or whatever years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been through literally hell and back, Hydra
Mhm.
and back, and remembers some of it and doesn't remember some of it, but probably feels all of it and
Mhm.
has to contend with that moment to moment. And that, that contributes to how he is just in moment to moment. So he was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. We're seeing now from your entire Marvel Rivals cast this hustle that you guys go to conventions. You're very engaging with the fan base, and it's a delight on our side. Now, do you guys have any interactions before the game comes out, or are you guys friends from beforehand, checking in with each other? What does that look like?
Well, like we are just talking about Jordan.
Hmm.
Jordan's been a friend for well, I've known him for 10 years, something like
Oh,
that. He and Mara.
yeah.
And we met at some of the places we would train. Same mentors. We'd be
Okay.
passing, be like, you see, oh hey, yo, nice to see you. And Jordan and I are actually both from Colorado, so we have that in common. But it wasn't until this game that we kind of really became friends, because we started doing a lot of social media stuff together, a lot of events, a lot of cons. And
Hmm.
so, we were kind of by nature forced to spend more time with each other. And I found that we actually liked each other. And the
Hmm.
same thing happened with Daniel Marin, the voice of Namor. He became immediately, we got together to do this social media video thing for the donut video, we always call it. And it's because Daniel always takes his kids every Sunday to whatever donut place, wherever it was. And this particular place at this time was Danny Trejo's Donuts in Hollywood.
Oh,
And
cool.
it was during um, what is the St. Patrick's Day
Okay.
was the weekend. So I had just gotten to know Daniel through the stream that we had done. So I hadn't even met him. We just had exchanged a few texts or whatever. And he sends me this picture of this charmed and dangerous donut that Danny Trejo had made for St. Patrick's Day. Charmed and dangerous. So I was like, oh, this is crazy. It's crazy that this has made it all the way to a donut.
Yeah.
So I texted I texted Daniel and Jordan. It was like, hey, would you guys be down to just do a silly video? Like just meet up and just like do something.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, yeah. So I called Danny Trejo's Donuts and was like, hey, you got any more of those charmed and dangerous donuts? And the guy who answered the phone was like, no, no, that was just for St. Patrick's Day, and we're out. And I was like, oh, okay. I was kind of putting on the voice a little bit in case maybe I wouldn't have to explain. Well, I'm the voice actor, and can you
Yeah.
get us into? I didn't want to have to be that guy, and he did. He played the game. He's like, but are you? I was like, I do voice the Winter Soldier, and I heard that you had the donut, and I thought it would just be really fun to come in. And he's like, I'm actually the baker here, and I can totally make that happen. And I was
That's
like, wow,
cool.
great. So if you can do that, can you also make a green donut and a perfect golden donut? And I can bring my friends, uh, Daddy Warlock and Namor in. And what can we come in on a Thursday at 10 a.m.? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So we all showed up, and that's where I met Daniel. And just the way he called out to my name, Eliah. I was like, oh, it's my homie. It's
Yeah.
my friend. We became instant friends like that. And that's happened with this core group of us, a strong, powerful bond. Mara, obviously, because Jordan's married to her, but she's fantastic, legendary. Alpha Takahashi, so talented, so kind, became instantly in the fold. Scott White, Scott Porter, Eric Bra. It's been such a wonderful experience. Being cast with a bunch of other people that we're actually friends with. They're
Yeah.
great. They're great. We go watch movies. We go to the beach. We hang out. It's kind of silly, but it's a real silver lining and a real blessing.
especially with so much of the post work and whatnot. You guys are working together, so it is nice that you guys have a good relationship because otherwise that would have been a bear. So it's nice to see
Yeah.
you guys get along.
Yes.
Some of the funnest lines in the game are the banter moments. Do you guys get to record those in person ever, or are those all solo in booth?
Everything is recorded in these sessions that we have. So
Okay,
it's all isolated.
that's
It's
too bad.
all I know. I know. I wish that we could all be in a room. This
Yeah,
is how they do it in Japan. They all get in a room, or China, they do it there too. They all get in there, but you have to stand there while everyone does their lines. So they're long sessions, but you get to react off of each other because acting is reacting. And I think it would be great, but it does kind of go to prove the point that one of the skills you have to learn as a voice actor is how to speak to somebody who's not there.
Hmm.
Because you can tell when it's kind of vacant and just reading lines.
yeah,
But if you can connect to, I'm really saying that to somebody, I think that that's what makes it personal and allows people to really connect with the character. And but it's harder. It's much easier and more natural if you just have somebody to just say the line to. I wish it were that way.
yeah. Is that a skill you had to develop over time? Do you think that that's something you got better and better at?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was not naturally good at that out the gate.
Hmm. That
I
seems
don't
so
know very many
difficult.
people who are. It's weird. It's
Yeah, it
weird.
feels weird.
It's really, yeah, you go into a sterile room that sounds weird because it's sound treated. So
Hmm.
even as soon as you get in there, it's not normal. You're
Yeah,
a fish out of water. And then you got glass and people looking at you through the glass, and this voice of God is the director telling you what to, it's unnatural.
mm,
But you have to make things very grounded and real because in game sessions they move quickly.
yeah,
You got a lot of lines to get through, and it's like almost every line that you've heard, that actor has seen that line 1 minute ago, maybe 30 seconds ago, maybe 15 seconds ago. And they're saying these lines for the first time.
yeah. That's
And
wild
that's
to
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's it. That's how the process goes. And, if the director is worth their weight in salt, and ours is Michael with Bright Skull, he's fantastic. He can be
mhm,
like, no, the scenarios are more this. So you're more relaxed, or no, this is in battle. So we need you to give some more to it. And the director will help you kind of navigate that, but it's fast. It moves, it works fast. And that's also one of the challenges of voice acting.
yeah. I've been hearing a lot of really good things about Bright Skull actually, and how good they were with you guys, and even with like Marvel Rivals. What Jordan was saying was that you guys got the script the day beforehand, which is so rare. And a lot of
Mhm.
times, like you're reading a paragraph on the day in the moment and having to figure out where the emotions are going to fit. You know?
That's right. They are really good about that. And it's very rare, um, because video games can't afford to have stuff leak.
Yeah.
And then and then everybody gets excited about it, and then it dies away, and the enthusiasm passes, and
Mm.
then when it's time to buy the game, everyone's like, "That's an old hat." So, but Bright Skull is really good about that, and they will give that to you ahead of time, and so you can read through, and that's a tremendous gift because you can then see the picture of the character much better, and oh, this happens to them then, and oh, then they say this, oh, but they also say that, and it gives you a better chance to consider the character and be
Yeah.
able to build something and come with a more of an idea instead of we're just kind of, which is what most video games are. So that, yeah, that's a real plus that they did us a super solid that way.
Yeah. When you're recording these lines, how do you make it distinct from, dialogue with some banter in the beginning of the game to barking out orders or making sure that it's really clear that mechanically the players are able to hear it out and react to it?
Yeah, the director is really good about
Okay.
giving us that context. That's his job or her job.
Mhm.
They know, and that's when I say they'll give you a redirect and say, no, this is happening in battle. So, or there's a lot of music,
Okay.
or this is just banter. This is just stuff that you do. So you can like really relax and just connect to them. That's the director will give you that gauge.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. When it comes to somebody like Winter Soldier with all this baggage and everything behind him, uh, what are you taking away from Bucky? Who do you think Bucky is in your head? And what are you trying to put on him that might be individualized to you, your own personal signature that makes Bucky special?
Mm. Well, this is the reason I connected so powerfully with Bucky, and I think that the reason acting works ever in the first place, it's when somebody connects with a character and they give themselves to it that makes it relatable and personal, and that's what we all want. We want to connect with emotionally connect with a character and a story and be brought through that, and it helps us glean meaning of what all this is about. And specifically with Bucky, he's we were talking about right at the beginning of this, a tortured person,
Yeah.
and he's had to live through who knows what horrors of which he was brainwashed to do, but still he did them, and he has to live with that. And so I love the strength that this character and the prowess that he has to constantly present just to make it through another day, to somebody who's lived more than a century,
Hmm.
to contend with the demons of the past, whether he did them or didn't. Like,
Right.
it's still a traumatic thing, and it's messed him up. It's messed a bunch of people up, but he's messed him up, and he's got to find a way forward. And I love that about this character. It's because I see these comic book characters as a modern day mythology where these characters are molded after facets of ourself, and in through the vehicle of story, we can better see who we are, how the world is, what should we do while we're here, how do we treat others, how do we treat ourselves. And in the case of Bucky, his perseverance to try and become a better person every day is something that I really love. It's what I have tried to do, and I have a background of trauma.
Hmm.
The family I came from wasn't great, and yeah, there's people out there that have had it harder, and acknowledge that, but but it doesn't take away from the fact that it was difficult and there was a lot to overcome, and it did take a long time, and there was a lot of pain involved, and that those circumstances forge a person in a certain way. And Bucky has, he's the assassin of assassins. He's the killer of killers.
Yeah.
So he's a very dangerous person. And for a while, for many years, I was training with a lot of ex-Navy SEALs and kung fu masters and people who are very, very dangerous, actually very dangerous people. And I was doing it for kind of performance capture and mocap to learn how
Hmm.
to play these characters more believably. But in the process of doing it, I learned the value of what the training was all about, which is to make yourself a better person minute by minute, day by day, through trial and error and hardship and suffering. And you embrace the discomfort of this suck. They called it, this sucks. But then you stick with it and you support each other and you grow stronger from that. And that's something that I wanted to bring to Bucky because I thought he's the perfect character for that. And so these guys who were very, very dangerous people, uncomfortably so, that they could kill you with their bare hands. They could just do it, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you could do to stop them. And it's an incredibly humbling feeling. And but they're very, very relaxed people. They are very chill people.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know. You'd see them in a bar, and they'd just be super relaxed. They're not all like aggro. They're super relaxed. And there's something incredibly unnerving about an individual who knows what they're capable of and is able to hold their space. And I wanted to kind of bring that to Winter Soldier, but they have this other side, which is the flip mode when it's battle time, and
Yeah.
they ramp it up. And so that's what I try to do with, like, the alts and some of the bigger lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Boy, the context you just added to Bucky has made him so much better to me. Just now, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's incredible. Uh, Looking at the patches going forward, I mean, obviously there's a big continuous arcs that are going forward on Marvel Rivals. Is there any particular story for Bucky you'd want to see them take him in the future?
Oh man, I would love to see the interaction with Bucky and Natasha play out a little bit more because that was kind of
Mhm.
passed over in the MCU in the movies. There's a whole history there,
Yeah.
and I would love to see more interaction with Widow. But there's a lot of fun stuff coming out now in the comic books. You can see me and Namor having a fight over what's more cuddly, the kittens or squids, and Luna Snow trying to break us up. And I mean, it's all fun,
Yeah.
but I would like to see more interaction with Natasha.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, especially talk about trauma, shared trauma on that one for sure. They were both
Yes.
used as tools in different ways. Hmm.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, fantastic character, and I'm so glad you brought him to life. But you have a extensive career also in dubbing, which is a true gift to those of us who can't read fast enough when it comes to anime and alike. What is that process like for you when you're trying to do an anime dub? And how are let me rephrase this. What is that process like for you when you're trying to do an anime dub? And how close are you trying to stay to the original voice actor's intent or trying to change it to your own intent?
Mm. That's a good question. The most difficult thing about dubbing is always timing. It's
Mm,
always the timing. For me, that's easily the most difficult thing because you have a very exact amount of time to convey something very specific. So the second part of your question, it comes into play for me on how I kind of handle that. I don't, because they will always play you the original Japanese or the original Chinese or Korean or whatever it's in. I don't try to voice match that, but I try to match the intent.
okay.
And it's not always fail safe because it's cross cultural and I don't know what they're saying except for the words that I get to read. But you can hear how somebody's saying something. And it's my job to translate that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, if I have to go and try to reduce it to the lowest common denominator, are they sad? Are they happy?
Right.
Um, and go, yeah, they're happy, but they're not like cotton candy happy. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm not dead happy. you
Yeah.
know, that's a
Yeah.
different kind of happy. And then that's what makes it fulfilling work to me because then I get to flex the acting muscle, which is how would you do this if you were so happy that you just narrowly died, but you're alive? What does that sound like if you were this character? Um, so I love it for that, and I also like that it's kind of like spoken word karaoke, where
Oh yeah.
there's a melody and there's a timing.
Yeah.
You try to do that, but you bring your own voice to it, and that's a really fun process for me. I like that.
Hmm. Is there any ad libbing in that process? Because it seems like you'd have to stick pretty close, but also you might want to change things to make more sense with a cultural divide.
There's a lot that yes, that happens quite often, and it's really the director and or the person who did the audio localization or the translation, or they'll go, oh, you know what? Hold on, I'm actually seeing there's a flap there that's not working with the way that it's worded, or the direct translation doesn't really convey what's actually happening. So hold on, if we use this, and they'll do it live in like
Oh
real
wow.
time. It's so much work.
Hmm.
And you just have to be focused hour after hour after hour. I'll do a 4 hour session, but they're there for double that at least. And it's
Yeah.
not like it's a very focused work. It's exhausting work. And I just have so much reverence and respect because it's at that level of focus and concentration. It's a lot of work, man. It's
I
a
can't
lot.
imagine. Yeah. Because, yeah, on your side as well, you're trying to match these emotions, bring them forward, but also as the person who's directing that, you have having to match that emotion across multiple characters, and again that cultural divide, and a lot of, I'm sure there's a good deal of them that have a passion for the project as a whole, wanting to make sure it's as good as possible. So yeah, boy, that's a tough gig as well, doing the directing
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
But there's 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 harder jobs,
Of
and
course.
I've worked them,
Yeah.
so I always keep that in perspective.
Yeah.
I go, oh my God, my voice, and I am so tired, and they're working even harder than I am. But it's like,
Yeah.
this work is amazing.
Yeah.
This work is amazing. And if you're so lucky is to be able to get it, I always try. I'll never be like, ooh, that was a real tough one, guys. See you tomorrow. It's like, we're so lucky. We're so fortunate to do this. And it's not lost on me to know that there's much harder jobs, much
Oh
harder
yeah.
job. And just how lucky we are to be a part of it at all in any capacity. It's a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandma used to be like, is there air conditioning? Then don't complain. Because there's people that don't have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for one. Yeah, exactly. Just that. Just
Yeah.
that. Air conditioning, you got it made. Imagine doing any job without that.
No.
Right.
When it comes to, so it sounds like timing's a little bit different. Is there any other major differences from dubbing anime or even live action compared to video games?
Oh, well, besides the timing, sometimes games will have to do that, but yeah, there's a different tone.
Okay.
There's a different anime. You can hear the sound of anime.
Hmm.
You can hear, and there's all different kinds of anime. There's all different kinds of games. But I think by nature of even just imagining, if games are geared towards the player,
Right.
so in different scenarios, you have to make sure that you're connecting with that player. Because if you're doing a cutscene and it's this whole thing where you're playing out a scene, that's different than if you're in game and you're trying to tell the character, maybe it would be a good idea to go over there and check out that,
Yeah.
X marks the spot thing. Like, don't you think? But without being like so heavy-handed and wink wink. But so I always say it really helps to understand the medium that you want to record in. So a lot of people are like, how to get into games, how to get, what do you play games? Did you grow up games? No, I don't have the time. I suck at them. I can't. It's like, then at the very, very, very least, you should be going on YouTube and watching the cutscenes and watching the gameplay and understanding, because like for Winter Soldier, for example, they had a lot of those animations
Mhm.
for the ults, and
Yeah.
even just him standing when they call it the character select, when he's standing there, and you'll see him like move his arm. There's a sound for that, and me and the director would be like, how would you make, what's that sound that you're seeing? What's that sound like? Whereas anime, you'll see like, you see the images, and then you'll hear the original and be like, okay, I'm trying to match that, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Um, whereas whereas a different tone most times in video games. I
Yeah.
think it's just, but man, it's still better all be coming from your heart. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's still all better be you in
Yeah.
whatever capacity it is, because whether it's anime or video games or commercials or promo or narration or any of this other stuff that I also work in, you have to connect with somebody,
Yeah.
and
It has to come
you
down to
can't
some
gloss
intent
over
a little
that.
bit too, right? Like video games, it's also mechanical. The player has to be able to react to your voice. So like when they hear your ultimate, they know to like duck and cover. But with anime, it's so much emotion generally that you have to like make sure that there's enough emotional attachment going on. It must be quite complicated.
Yeah, and like a lot of the anime that I've worked on, it's moving quickly. So
Hmm.
you need to keep moving, and you don't have a lot of time to like. But at the same flip of the coin, for a game, if you're doing in-game work, meaning the player is playing, That
Yeah.
also kind of that has to move along too, because action is happening and you can't be sitting there eating a sandwich while you say your line.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the director lets you know all that. The director lets you know.
That's cool. Cool. One of the questions I asked Jordan, and I thought would be a good one to ask you as well, he had a very big and complicated answer for it. My question is, with the rise of AI right now, where do you see that in the voice acting world, and when do you think it crosses a line?
Mm, the question of the day,
Yeah, really.
question of the age. Yeah. Uh, man, um, Jordan and I have spent a lot of time talking about this together and going to the SAG meetings when there was we were striking last year about
Yeah.
this. And it's a complicated answer, man. And we
Yeah.
could spend an hour talking about this. But in a nutshell, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. It's just like cell phones aren't going away. The internet is not going away. It's here. And so we have to find a way to work with it.
Hmm.
And I think that there are productive and reasonable ways in which AI can contribute to the workflow of video games while not replacing the actors.
Yeah.
Because for me, the line in the sand is um, when AI will use its generative capabilities to copyright or to plagiarize copyright
There we go.
material.
Yeah.
So if I give a performance, that's my performance. Um, and that's the line in the sand for me. Now, if if they're willing to compensate for that, okay,
Yeah.
when we're open for business, and it could help all parties. You know, it can help expedite video games because they don't have to get everybody back and go through the scheduling. They go, we're going to pay you as though you had a session, and we're going to use AI to generate this script rewrite that we just had, and so it could be done. So
Yeah.
we would still get paid. That game can move forward. Though the problem there is, well, then the engineer is not getting hired, the director is not getting hired, and everybody in between, they're losing out on work. And so this extrapolates to much more than just the actor and just the game developer.
Right.
It's a big, complicated ball of wax with many moving gears, and as such, it's a complicated answer.
Yeah.
But you know, for the sake of just kind of being able to put my foot down somewhere in the sand and say, this is cool, this is not. We have to find a way to work with it, and we have to find a way to protect human performance and the people that help bring that to fruition. And all of the aforementioned people I said, the director, the engineers, the producers, um, there's an industry, and it's AI is going to change those things, but we have to come up with ways that are reasonable and commensurate to continue to support. Otherwise, the games aren't going to be the same, and
Yeah.
they're going to suffer. And this is going to be the same for on camera and TV and any other art form, music. That's where it starts becoming soulless, and that's where you start losing. What do they call it? The there's a term for it that's escaping me right now, but it's the uncanny valley.
Oh yeah.
The uncanny valley describes when you look at a character or you hear a character and it's not believable. It's not the way a human would act. It's just it takes you out of the story and of the moment. And that's where AI will kill the art if we allow it, because it doesn't know. It's just people out there pulling gears trying to be like, here's a sad moment, and then
Hmm.
you know, in humanity, we're always pushing the envelope forward. We're always evolving. All of us, all the time, especially language and arts and the way you say something. I'm looking generation to generation, it changes. The lingo, the way you say something, it changes. It changes in a matter of a year or two. And to stay relevant and stay connected to your audience, you're still going to have to work with humans. Story and art is a human endeavor. I don't know that it means anything to AI.
Yeah.
It's just a program at this point. Now, then everyone's like, well, what happens when it becomes sentient and can think for itself? Well, I don't know. Then we're going to have to cross that bridge, and that's why
Right.
we live in the wild, wild west of this world, which is like, who knows where this is all going? But what we do know is we need to take care of people. That's what art is for. It's for us. It's for us to enrich and uplift each other, to inspire and encourage one another to become a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday, and to continue to strive forward and to divine meaning out of all the seeming chaos, and what is important and what is good and what should we leave behind and what is not worth our time. Art is the vehicle that helps us clarify and discern that, and we can't allow it to be the waters to be muddied by a computer program that doesn't understand what our values are. And so you can see I'm already running down the road of how complicated it gets,
And
and
it
I do
does.
have a lot of thoughts about it. But in a nutshell, that's kind of where I come down on it.
Eliah, you are so well spoken, and I can hear you talk about anything all day. You do a great job.
Yeah.
uh, let's close things out with a hopeful tone here. Say somebody's a young, they're wanting to get into voice acting, and I know that character voice acting is a tougher gig to get into, but where should somebody like that start off?
Well, Jordan, Daniel, and I, we always talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
For us, the answer is simple. If you want to be a voice actor, that means you want to be an actor, because voice acting is acting. It's actually more difficult acting because you don't have your face to
Mm-hmm.
convey
Yeah.
a wink or a shrug. You have to find a way to do that with your voice, and it has to be the way you would do it, because they already have everybody else. What makes it interesting is and unique is how you would do it. So my advice is start acting. Take acting classes. Take an improv class.
Yeah.
Be part of the arts. Watch interviews where people talk about the craft and the process of what it is to be an actor. What do they go through? And understand that hardship and uncertainty is part of the path. Failure is part of success. You can't have them without the other. You have to have uncertainty. You have to have hardship. You have to have failure in order to have success. It's like the night with the day. You can't have one without the other. And the only other thing that I would say is start.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the right time. I mean, look, if you're in the middle of a family member is going through something, and or you just got into a car accident, it's like, I'm not going to start acting right now.
Right.
I'm trying to. I got a broken leg, which I've been there. I've been there before, so I know. I get it. But there's another calibration in there, which is like, you have to know, why do you want to act? Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
Actors are kind of nutty. You kind of got to be sort of nutty. You can't be, well, I'm showing up to work today, and I'm going to put in another 9 to 5, and it's going to be square as It's like it is the Wild West, and there's so much uncertainty and hardship. You better really know why you're doing this,
Yeah.
and you have to determine for yourself. I want to do this because I can't not do it. I have to do this because I would do it for free. If I find myself doing another job and I'm always thinking about acting and like, oh, that was an interesting performance. Why would they do that? Why would I do that? And you find yourself ruminating about it. Well, then maybe acting is for you. If you're like, wow, one day I'm going to be sitting here giving an interview and people are going to want to see me on stage. And I mean, it's passé and it's an old hat truth, but it's well-meaning and it's purposeful. Those won't serve you in the journey to becoming an actor, because one of the most poignant things that one of my acting teachers told me was, and it came from Stanislavski, which is you have to love yourself and the art, not the art in yourself.
Hmm.
And it's a simple but profound statement, especially if you're a voice actor. Most of us aren't prime time. Most of us aren't pasted our faces and our voices. It might take a long time.
Yeah.
And if you love the process and you can't help but just not do it, you'll find your way. But if you're in it to make some side cash, or I just want all my friends and family to finally see that I'm actually worth something. We all have those feelings and we all have those experiences, but that can't be your motivator to wanting to be an actor. It has to come from within, and your motivations have to be, I want to tell stories. And I'm fascinated by human psychology. And why would a person do that? Because as an actor, you're always putting yourself into somebody else's shoes.
Hmm.
If you were this character with these circumstances and you had to say these lines, how would you make that real? How could you justify that? Because everybody just believes they're doing the right thing, whether they're good or bad. They have their reasons for it. Like Magneto is a great example of that.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, and you hear him say it, and you're like, you're you're kind of off your rocker, but I see why you would do this if you
Yeah.
believed that. And then it gives the dimension and depth to this character where they're just a bad guy. You're like,
That's
oh
right.
man, they had a hard life and they took this path and that's where it led them. I can't let that happen to me. And it starts this whole internal thing. And that's how people get attached into the story. And it starts giving them value and calibrates who they are and that's the function of art. You can't do that if you just show up to try and do a line. Listen to my impersonations. Those are great. And there's professionals out there that do them. Jordan's one of them. Our friend
Hmm.
Scott White is one of them. They can do impersonation work, and it's out. The work is out there, but it's like 1%.
Yeah.
You have to bring your own voice because projects don't want to sound like other projects. They want their unique project, and for you to sound like your own voice, that means you have to know who you are. The trouble with that is we're always in a state of constantly discovering and redefining ourselves, and that's art.
Yeah. That's That's wonderful. Yeah. And I really like that idea where it's this passion where you can't stop thinking about it. And that kind of goes for any career really. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if you're willing to do that, then go for it. And the trials be worth it. That's wonderful advice. I appreciate you giving that. Good. And I want to say I appreciate, the work that you guys, the hustle that the entire Marvel Rivals team has been doing, going to these conventions, meeting fans face to face. It means so much to all of us. So truly want to give you a thanks and everybody up because we see you guys, LECC and all of them. It's really pretty amazing. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. It's just been an honor and a pleasure to be a part of something that so many people are excited about.
Yeah.
Ourselves included. And we started this fans first as well. And like I said, we're so lucky that I found kind of equal footing with my friends to be like, we would have done this for free because we love it that much.
Yeah.
But we live in Los Angeles and it's not cheap, and you do have to make a living. So there's a business side of it. But showing up and sharing the excitement with people who are also fans is something that's near and dear to our heart, and it's something that we're always constantly talking about. How can we make this more fun? What can we do that would make it this? And we stream. I don't know if Jordan talked to you about that. We also
Okay.
stream the game, and so you can find Jordan, you can find me, you can find Daniel, who's the one who streams the most and the longest.
Yeah.
And we love having fun. We love having fun with people who are loving the game, and we want to foster and create this community of positivity where people can come and show up and be like, "This is fun," and leave out the toxic behavior. And those people kind of have to excuse themselves now at this point, anyways, because there's enough people in the community where they're like, "Listen, you go hate somewhere else."
Yeah.
Here we're all like, play whoever you want to play however you want to play, enjoy the game.
Hmm.
This is just a fun game, and the game is about cooperation and community, and you have to work
Yes.
together. And
Yeah.
if that isn't a perfect blueprint for how we should be living as people anyways, then I don't know what is.
Yeah. Yeah. or even a bad guy become a hero, and that's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah.
Eliah Mountjoy, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate this conversation.
Thanks for reaching out. And I'm glad we got a chance to finally make this happen. And I know we
Yeah.
tried to do this a little bit in Los Angeles Comic-Con, but it was hectic there. So we
I
made
had
it
no
happen.
doubt. That's crazy
Thank you for
weekend. Yeah,
having me.
of course. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. And make sure you guys follow in the description. Follow Eliah on Instagram and on his website. They'll both be in the description. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.